The rumor hit the bay like a cold wind off the water, a sharp whisper that the Suns coach tossed a jab at our house, and instantly the pulse of Dub Nation rose from steady to thunder. We know this tune by heart. A rival mouth fires the spark, and the Warriors turn the noise into fuel, weaving it into the drumbeat that shakes the chase center from the banners to the baseline. They say the coach down in the desert questioned our edge, smirked at our rhythm, and tried to shrink our shine, but around here doubt only makes the light brighter. Rivalries are forged in moments like this, when a stray line travels farther than a cross-court pass and lands right in the heart of a fanbase that lives for the next statement win. You can almost hear the practice gym speakers crackle as the clip loops again, a tiny needle that keeps pricking pride, reminding the room that respect is earned over and over. We're not new to bravado from afar. What's new is how it arrives dressed as strategy, a mind game tossed over the mid-court line to see who blinks first. The Warriors do not blink. The Warriors stare straight through the smoke, find the seams, and stitch a response with movement, timing, and a ruthless sense of occasion. Let the Suns coach stir the pot. In the bay we've got a cauldron already boiling, equal parts memory and ambition, a brew that hardens resolve and sweetens victory. Every perceived slight turns into a chalk line on the practice floor, a reminder to sprint that last step, to cut sharper, to contest with hands high and hearts higher. Word travels fast from the valley to the city, and by the time it crosses the bridge, it has been distilled into a simple message. Be louder with action than anyone can be with talk. Our leader with the finest handle in the league smiles at smoke the way a surfer smiles at fog, calm, patient, knowing the sun always breaks through when the rhythm is true. The heartbeat of our defense sharpens his voice in huddles, turning chatter into challenge, reminding teammates that toughness is a language understood in every arena. The silent assassin on the wing lets the noise pass through him like a breeze through redwoods, then sets his feet and writes the last word with a pure release. Length on the perimeter, craft in the lane, and a bench that hums like a tuned engine. This is how the Warriors answer any provocation, with layers that wear opponents down. Coaching chess is part of it, and our sideline mind has seen every opening gambit, every bait, every press conference feint meant to tug emotions out of shape. Play it again, staff says, rewinding the soundbite, not for outrage but for orientation, a North Star pointing to details where games tilt. This is the Bay. We translate public prods into private purpose, then let the scoreboard be the only quote worth keeping. There's a ritual to rivalry weeks, the way the lights feel a touch brighter, the pre-game playlist a bit heavier, the layup lines crisper, the eyes clearer. We remember battles under louder roofs and older banners, and we remember how talk tends to thin out when the closeouts get quick and the cuts get violent. It's not disrespect to say we relish this. It's identity, the thing that lifts the building when a challenger thinks a little shade will make us wilt. The Suns coach can talk tempo and toughness from the podium. We'll talk spacing and spirit in motion, and let the ball sing in harmony with the crowd. Out there in the heat, swagger walks tall. Up here by the water, swagger puts in work, finds the angle, and finishes through contact with a smile. Bulletin boards across the facility get a new pin, not as obsession but as orientation, a tiny arrow pointing toward the standard that has carried us through storms. Defense sets the thesis, and the Warriors intend to write it with chests to ball, feet dancing, and a wall that turns bright suns sets into dusk. Off-ball poetry remains the counter, cuts slicing like gulls on a tailwind, screens colliding like waves against rock, freeing shooters to paint with arc and air. Gravity bends defenders even when our star does not touch the ball, and in that bend 1,000 pathways open, each one a chance to turn words into silence. Hungry legs in the second unit bring fresh fire, treating the talk like kindling, turning rest minutes into runs that flip the mood of entire quarters. A roster built to morph can punish any scheme. Switch it, and we hunt mismatches. Hedge it, and we slip behind. Drop it, and we pull the thread until the whole sweater unravels. Mind games can rattle the uninitiated. For us they are a familiar drum, reminding the group to breathe, to trust reads, to pass up good for great. In the film room, the remark is just another clip between a horn set and a hammer action, a quick grin, then back to details that always decide the night. Memory is a fortress. This franchise has climbed out of louder holes than a press quip, and that's exactly why the fanbase only smirks when the noise swells. Dub Nation tunes its voice, a chorus that starts in neighborhoods and ends in the rafters, a single sound that makes visiting bravado feel suddenly small. Noise can be weapon or weakness. The Warriors choose weapon, hammering rhythm until it drowns out anything that doesn't help performance. Let the desert burn bright. We like the hard light of accountability, where every rotation is counted, every box out measured, every possession treated like gold. Transition becomes a verdict on effort, and we plan to run until legs on the other sideline carry a little doubt with every stride. In the half-court, patience is our sharpest blade, carving corners and creases until the paint opens like a door you knew would give if you kept knocking. Glass work matters, and we intend to treat rebounds like promises kept: 2 hands, strong base, outlet with purpose, break with conviction. Pace will be earned, not given, dialed to the exact register that makes defenders make choices they'd rather avoid. Discipline at the stripe is part of the sermon, not just getting there but cashing in, so that every foul drawn becomes a brick in the story we're building. Late clock poise has always separated pretenders from the real, and our veterans know how to breathe when the air gets thin. Closing lineups are trust made visible, 5 minds and 10 hands moving as a single idea, shaped by nights just like the one this talk is trying to sell. Maybe they think size will smother, maybe they think speed will shred. Either way, we'll toggle shapes until the matchup puzzle breaks in our favor. Blitz the ball and we'll short roll, tag the roller and we'll skip the weak side, hug shooters and we'll dance at the rim, say something and we'll say more with reads. Rotations become a metronome, steady and sure, keeping legs fresh and minds sharper than any post-game jab. Staggering scorers keeps the fire lit at all times, a lesson learned across years of high-stakes nights where a single dull stretch can tilt everything. Home energy is our amplifier, and when the building swells it turns solid defense into a tidal force that wins loose balls before they even drop. Road nights are our favorite test. Take the talk to their gym, turn the volume down on introductions, and let execution write the recap. Every jab thrown before tip-off risks becoming a cautionary tale when the tape rolls and the camera finds faces forced to swallow their own storyline. We carry both humility and edge, a balance that keeps hunger honest and swagger earned, never borrowed from microphones. Billboards, podcasts, timelines, everyone wants a piece of this flare-up, but the locker room only wants clarity, roles, and a target. Beat writers will chew the soundbite into a saga, and that's fine. We'll chew switching coverages into dust and call it even. Our stars tend to speak in smiles that hide storms, and that's when fans know the calendar just circled itself in bright ink. Training sharpens with a little extra bite, every shell drill echoing with the unspoken message: prove it with footwork, prove it with heart. Chants begin to take shape before anyone steps inside the arena, crafted in group chats and carpools, ready to rain down on the very first defensive stand. Tunnel steps feel heavier on rivalry nights, not as burden but as armor, each stride a reminder of how many big gates this group has already walked through. National voices will weigh in, some to fan flames, others to play firefighter, and none of it changes the only thing that matters between horn and horn. Legacy talk floats around games like these, but the Warriors prefer present tense, the sacred now where every cut and catch is everything. Motivation needs no outside help, yet here it is anyway, neatly gift-wrapped in a quote we didn't ask for but will gladly put to use. If shots go cold for a stretch, the plan does not. Keep cutting, keep screening, trust that good process melts ice every single time. Defensive habits do not depend on mood, only on repetition and care, the daily devotion that carries teams through turbulence. Editors will splice the coach's words into hype, and will splice them into resolve, 2 edits, 1 outcome to be decided on hardwood. On the bench, staff hands move like a symphony, messages flowing clean, adjustments stacking like stones in a strong wall. Old champions in the room know that nothing about this is new, just louder, and they nod because louder does not scare wisdom. Fresh legs bring their own gospel, an insistence that the dynasty mindset is not a past tense but a living thing that breathes through effort. Veteran voices keep the throttle steady, reminding everyone that anger can be a spark but control is the engine. Culture is not a slogan here, it's the quiet code that turns tense nights into exhibitions of craft and will. Pressure tries to make hands heavy. Our hands get lighter, quicker, more certain, because pressure is just attention, and we know how to handle attention. Adversity is something we've invited to dinner so many times that it now brings dessert, and we taste it and keep working. There's a hush right before the opening toss when the building feels sentient, as if the rafters lean in to listen for the story about to be told. The opening action matters less than the intent behind it, and ours will be clear. Cut hard, screen clean, hit first without fouling, claim tempo. Scoreboard is the only language that ends these debates, and we plan to be fluent when the lights go soft and cameras search for faces. We do not need to say the coach's name. The game knows the origin of its energy, and the game always recognizes receipts. Writers will edit and re-edit the narrative depending on the final horn, but inside we already know who we are when the room gets loud. The schedule had this circled the moment that comment hit the air, not as obsession, but as a promise to answer with craft. Handshakes after the buzzer reveal everything a press conference cannot, and we already anticipate the look that says the lesson landed. Rivalries thrive on oxygen, and if they want to fan flames, fine, we'll turn those flames into a forge. The bay reflects its teams like the water reflects the sky, shimmering and steady, bending light without breaking it. Our rallying cry is simple and old as the game itself. Let the ball find energy, let defense tell the truth, let talk fade into echoes behind us as we run. Before we dive into the next update, help us keep the Warriors' spirit alive by subscribing to the channel and smashing that like button. Stay connected with all the latest Golden State Warriors news. Now, let's get into it.